And now, live from Level 5 Productions on the island of Milleronia, it's The Larry Miller Show. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and everyone who just can't buy gifts. Hi, folks, and welcome back to the Larry Miller Show. I'm Larry Miller, but in a way, aren't we all? And boy, are we happy today. Oh, many reasons, but we just love the show. I'm glad to be doing a new one here with Colonel Jeff and Ozzy here on the floor of the studio. And he's always very relaxed. And come to think of it, so are we. And that has to do with, the music to start with. I love it. Colonel Jeff loves it. And we hope you do too. That, of course, is the Akim Tamaroff Orchestra and the Angie Dickinson Dancers, featuring boy tenor Brad Simpson asking the musical question, in rowing, if a crew member makes a backsplash, is there a backlash? And if so, does the coxswain crack some skulls? Number one, yes, and yes, Brad. Good question. And it's close to home, too, because my son rows on varsity crew at college and has since his first day at school. That's a tough sport. And they're up every day for practice at 5 in the morning. Is that tough enough for you? So that they don't go out and drink at night because they can't. They travel by bus and plane to compete in regattas all over the country, and they're also not out the night before because they can't. And good question, Brad. You know what? Crew is a great sport, and my son is great on it. But it doesn't come cheaply, and there's always a price to pay. And so, as Brad wondered, in rowing, if a crew member makes a backsplash, is there a backlash? And if so, does the coxswain crack some skulls? Yes. He or she sure does. And by the way, a quick note on Akim Tamaroff and Angie Dickinson. There's more to say about those two great folks, but that will come later. And by PayPal. That's right, PayPal, still one of my favorite companies. Boy, you know what? If you work with PayPal and think you're saving the world, who knows, you may just be. And it sure helps us. If you enjoy my show and would like to send us a few bucks to help out, and why wouldn't you? You can do it through PayPal. And the way the Colonel and I like to say it is, instead we don't say donate this or pay what you like or join the Platinum Committee. I like to say buy us some drinks. And that's the correct way to do it. There are different levels, of course, level 1 through 5, all the way up to, we're driving to Florida! Boy, those folks were up for it. And so am I. So go to PayPal. There are 100 different ways to do it. Your computer, your iPhone, all sorts of things. But, go on our website. That's the easiest for all. That's LarryMillerPodcast.com. Who's on the mountain? Tom Mix. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have had the fish. But you know something? Folks, never forget that. I just love saying that, by the way. So go to our website because we have a banner there that says PayPal. Don't have to go through anything else. Click on our banner. And then go to your lazy boy chair and rock it back and put a magazine over your head and take a good nap. Because remember, we're very grateful to you. Every little bit helps us keep the old leg lamp lit. And thank you to everyone who's contributed already and is about to contribute, because I do these announcements so well. All right, never mind that. You know what? Just maybe you're about to contribute anyway. It means a lot to us, though. And that brings me to my favorite part of the show, the joke of the week. This is a good one. I love the joke of the week anyway, and so does the Colonel, and so do you, I hope. Because there's nothing better than a good joke. And this is a pretty good one. It made us laugh. A couple has been married 35 years, and they finally go to a marriage counselor. You know what? They need some help. And they go in, and the marriage counselor says to the wife, first of all, he says, why don't you start here and just tell us what you think? And she immediately launches into everything wrong in the last 35 years. He does this, he won't do that, and you know what? He's lazy, and then he never really gets anything I want, and he doesn't, never mind gifts, he doesn't get gifts, he doesn't remember anything, and she goes on and on and on, and I can't take it anymore. And I've had it. It's 35 years that just don't work. And the counselor gets up and he stands and walks over to her, and he's so moved, he's shaking. And he says, stand up, stand up. She does. And he kisses her, and a nice kiss right on the lips, and holds it there for 5-10 seconds, and then breaks away from her and says, sit down, sit down. Now, and then he walks over to the husband, who's just been sitting there the whole time calmly, and he says, now, sir, that's what that woman needs at least 3 times a week. Can you be responsible for it? And the guy says, well, I can drop her off here Mondays and Wednesdays, but on Fridays I go fishing. We like that one. Marriage jokes are just fun. And in this case, well, sure, it's not going so well, but there's why. It's a good, silly marriage joke, and I like that, and so does Colonel Jeff. And I hope you do too. Remember, pass it along if you do to friends and family and folks at work. And that brings me to my second favorite part of the show, the Poetry Corner. Thank you, that great string quartet. And this is a good one. It's by the great Robert Louis Stevenson, called Swallows Travel To and Fro. Swallows travel to and fro, and the great winds come and go, and the steady breezes blow, bearing perfume, bearing love. Breezes hasten, swallows fly, towered clouds forever ply, and at noonday you and I see the same sunshine above. Dew and rain fall everywhere, harvests ripen, flowers are fair, and the whole round earth is bare to the moonshine and the sun and the live air, fanned with wings, bright with breeze and sunshine, brings into contact distant things, and makes all the countries one. Let us wander where we will, something kindred greets us still, something seen on vale or hill falls familiar on the heart. So, at scent or sound or sight, severed souls by day and night tremble with the same delight, tremble half the world apart. Isn't that lovely? I think it is, and so does the Colonel. You know what? Another great look, not only by a great man, Robert Louis Stevenson, but what does love mean? What does commitment mean? What do our joys mean? And how can we tell? In earth and in nature? Well, that's how. I hope you like that one, folks, and I hope you're, willing to go look at it again. And that brings me to my third favorite part of the show, MMM, the Magic Movie Moment. something else I just love so much. What we all love movies. Well, what a gorgeous form it is, film, and telling a story that way. And what in any one movie that we love is special? What takes us out and really brings so much of it together? A magic movie moment. And this is a great movie. Ocean's 11 from 1960. There was a very good remake of it with, well, George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts, Andy Garcia, so many others. A great cast. And it was a terrific movie. But as usual, well, boy, oh boy, the original is so good. Ocean's 11, as I said, from 1960, directed by Louis Milestone. And, oh, folks, what a cast this is. What a wonderful thing. Oh, starring Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Peter Lawford, Angie Dickinson, Richard Conte, oh boy, Cesar Romero, Patrice Wymore, Joey Bishop, Akim Tamaroff, Henry Silva, and it keeps going and going. Ilka Chase, Buddy Lester, Richard Benedict, Gene Wiles, Norman Fell, Clem Harvey, Hank Henry, Lou Gello, Robert Folk, Red Skelton, George Raft, and so many others. This movie, well, it's Ocean's 11. There are 11 of them. And they're friends from World War II. They fought together, and then it comes up, well, they get an idea. One of them gets an idea, and his name is Danny Ocean, and he's played by Frank Sinatra. And he calls all his old pals from the war into Las Vegas to tell them the plan. There's so many others. And you know what, though? To do this, that's why making this movie, the remake is wonderful, but to make this movie, do you know, they were all still working at night doing shows in Las Vegas. 1, 2 shows a night, 7 days a week. And then, well, they didn't go to sleep right away. They weren't like a crew team. Well, they could go out and have a drink or two and relax, and then they'd go to sleep when they went to sleep. At 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, and sleep until they got up early in the afternoon. And it was known, and on the set there, they were ready. They got ready so that the set was ready and that all the cameras and everything was ready on the movie. That's really, how do you make a movie? A great way like that. And holy mackerel, and there are so many people, by the way, that you'll recognize, and not just from the 11, but great film actors and stage actors and entertainers. And folks, it's so well done and so beautifully made. And considering how they had to do it, I just can't. I want to put a hat on just so I can take it off to them. And boy, oh boy, the scene to me, there's so much that's magic about this movie. It's so well done. But yes, the magic movie moment in this is with someone who wasn't even given credit. She was the dearest friend of Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and played cards with them in their Rat Pack. And still one of the greatest, we've ever seen in the whole movie world, Shirley MacLaine. And they said, come on, you'll be in this. And she played a part that wasn't even written. The Tipsy Girl. And it's where Dean Martin drops her back off at the hotel, and she's drunk, and she's good and drunk, and they talk, and she slips a little bit, and she was just wonderful in it. And it's such a good part of the movie, because it's one of those things where you say to yourself, I'm not even quite sure how this relates to the big heist that they're planning. Well, it doesn't. But who cares? When things are that good, you just say, wow, this whole movie is a magic movie moment. And, I know you'll feel that way. I can't. I've seen, by the way, I can't resist this one, the original. And I've seen the remake, and I keep saying it's wonderful because it is. They did a great job on that. Oh, didn't even name some of them. Oh, Carl Reiner and Elliot Gould. So many just great folks in that. Matt Damon. But this is the movie. The original Ocean's 11 from 1960, starring Frank Sinatra and so many others. Please see it. And then send us a note and say, you know what? You were right. It's great. And yes, it's not only great, but it's filmed in the middle of a ton of show business. All those shows they did at night. The Rat Pack did. And their name, by the way, they were called The Summit. That's the only way they were promoted. Well, hey, who's over there that night at that hotel? The Summit. That's who's there. And can you imagine that? Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Joey Bishop, Peter Lawford, all performing together and teasing each other and singing and dancing together. They were great. And they should be. But you see, that's not only why I mentioned Akim Tamiroff and Shirley MacLaine at the top of the show, but it's very meaningful to see not only a story about people getting together like that, but how do you, as I said, how do you know how to get a gift for someone? I know I've mentioned this before, but it's the truth because this week, you see, is our younger son's birthday, and it's his 21st birthday, which is, as you know, that's quite a thing. Wow, 21 years old, and you hit your majority. And he's away at school in Colorado, and he works hard, and he's a great athlete. And, well, I want to, talk to my wife and say, what should we send him? And it's coming up. It's this week. And I don't know. I know I could do what I had the big standby is, I'll get him a book. Books are great, though. But, still, you want to get him something that will really make him happy. And Colonel Jeff reminded me of a store just a couple of doors down in the Los Feliz area, down from my chiropractor. And the store is called Wacko. And he said, it's great. You can go in there. They have a lot of books, and they have a lot of albums. They have a lot of everything. And I said, you know what? I said to the colonel, good thinking. I'm going to go there tomorrow, and I'm going to see what there is to be seen. And what'll I get him? I don't know, whatever appeals. You just get him a book, get him 2 books, get him, I don't know, some kind of thing with sponge darts. My other kid suggested that why don't you get him this? I can't remember the name of it, but I said, so that's darts, you mean? And he said, well, they're not pointed metal darts. He laughed and said, you're not going to kill someone with this. And I'm still just looking at him saying, you mean with the darts, you won't be killing someone? I think to a parent, that's a hard word to say, to get as a gift, So I should get him darts, and I know that they're not the pointy metal kind. I'll get something there, and I'll make it right, and I'm going to send him a nice note with it, too, that before I go over there tomorrow, my wife and I'll sign something nice, and not just a card that I think we can get there, but we'll make a nice letter and say, you know what? We love you, and God bless you. And happy 21st birthday, and no need to go out tonight. Because remember, you have crew practice tomorrow. And just, do the responsible thing and wait till Saturday night. Sure, you can have a beer legally now, but you don't have to go out and do it. And by the way, as long as he doesn't ask me, what would you do, Dad? Then I think I'll be fine. Because if he asks me that, I don't want to lie, so then I'll have to, lie. I'll have to just say something like, I'm sorry, we're having another suit of armor delivered right now, and they're at the door. So I gotta go. Bye. But no, it doesn't have to go crazy. And we'll put that in the letter, and I'll make a special phone call to him and say, just, you're a big guy now. And, well, you're a man now. You're 21 years old. And I'll do it. And but that's the thing. And then just a couple of days after that, in fact, one day after that, is my wife's and my anniversary. And it's our, I shouldn't have started that. I forgot for a second what the anniversary is, but it's a good one. It's a big one. But they all are. And I don't know what, again, I've said this before. I don't know. I don't know what to get. I said to the Colonel, can you show me just before when we end the show and before you leave that, show me how to get on Amazon. Can I just put in the topic heading of what do you get your wife for your anniversary when you're kind of a dumb guy? They've got to have that category, right? And it made me think, what did I get my parents? What do I want to get my wife? Because, by the way, jewelry is too expensive. I'm sorry, I don't mind saying that. It's crazy. There's a jewelry store around here that advertised, and they look at it like a nice jewelry store. I went there once a couple of years ago for this, but you can't get jewelry for $100 or $300. I'm sorry. Yes, you can get a thing, but it's not an especially nice thing, and you don't get to say, hey, do you like this? They have nice things, but there are folks, this is no joke, I'm not exaggerating, $26,000, $27,500, $29,000. You can just see on the tags right through the glass case, which I did. And I don't know how to look at these things. They didn't look so good to me, but I don't know what I'm looking at. Maybe they'd look good to you, but not to me. And I said to the woman behind the counter, do people really buy these things for that kind of dough? And she said, well, she's told the truth and what she's supposed to. She said, oh, yes. And I'm sure they do, I guess. Can't be every day, can't be every hour. That's a lot of money, isn't it? And so I think jewelry is out of the line. And sure, I could get books. I could go to the Barnes and Noble or something. But and she's really into this and that, and she's worked for some political things. But I don't want to get her a political book for someone she voted for because every political book always have the bad section. There's always going to be a section of, then in fourth grade, she spit on someone. It's true, it's not true. What does it matter? And that'll just make her mad. And then, she won't get mad at me because it's our anniversary. Well, sure she would. I don't want to make her mad, by the way. And she's not crazy about flowers, but I always get them. I've mentioned this before, I'm sure. And just, sure, the local Ralphs all have flower sections, and they're very nice. But she's not crazy about them. And that's still, by the way, going to be $40, $80, $100, $150. I'm not cheap. The one thing I'm not is cheap. Maybe it sounds like I am, and I'm sorry, but I'm not. And the jewelry is too much, and flowers she's not crazy about. As I kept thinking, what? I can't get her clothes. I mean, you can't get someone for your anniversary. Here's a new sweater. How do you like this one? Look, buttons. I don't know what that even means, and I can't. So we'll see. I'm going to go to Amazon. The Colonel will show me how to get there, and I'll look at this and that. But I thought of that. I thought of my parents. What did I used to get my parents? And I can't even, by the way, I can't get my wife to say like sport tickets, like to a big game. She'll kill me. I mean, she doesn't want to do that. Yeah, but honey, they're my favorite team. No, they're not. She'd just say immediately. No, they're not. They're not. You don't even watch them. your favorite teams are in New York. Are you going to take me to New York to see your really favorite teams? And so we can stay in a fancy hotel and go to a fancy restaurant? Well, I was already out of the room. I don't want to hear the rest of that. But, I mean, no, I don't want to do that. And plus, she wouldn't even like that. And so I say, what did I get my parents? And I remember it was the same thing every year for both of them. For my dad, I always got him Old Spice. Now, there's no other way to say that, but Old Spice. I know they're advertising now, and they look hip and really look like, hey, look at them. They're, guys who are 19 and 21 wear Old Spice now. Well, that means nothing to me. No, I wear Old Spice. My dad wore Old Spice. It was just Old Spice. The guy gets off the ship and what's wrong with that? And he's got the thing he swings over his shoulder, the duffel bag, and he's just been out, hunting everything, whatever it was. Fish, whales, who knows? But he gets off and he's got a great smile. Good-looking fisherman. And then he goes, he takes all his sea stuff off and takes a shower, dunks his head in something and shaves, puts some Old Spice on. So I got my dad everything in Old Spice. And my parents were very sweet. They're good people. And just, so my dad would always say, oh, thanks, whether I was 8 or 10 or 14 or whatever it was, I just kept getting him Old Spice. He had enough from me in Old Spice to put the shelves in the bathroom on rotators. I mean, just so that they would be like in a fancy drugstore. But he didn't mind, and he had Old Spice all the time, and so do I. And by the way, I think it's terrific stuff. I don't know what you're looking for more than that. But that was for Dad. Always got Old Spice. That wasn't hard. That was easy. And he liked it, or he was just sweet enough to smile at me and give me a hug and say thank you. And for Mom, everything, every time, every year for her anniversary, we would cook for Mom. We would cook for her. My sister and I would, wake her up early on a Sunday morning and, Mom, and kind of shake her awake. Now, number one, leave her alone. The woman is just it's Sunday, it's her anniversary. She's just trying to sleep another 40 minutes. Leave her alone. But, we just, Mom, she'd always wake up. What? Who's sick? Who's dead? And we'd say, no, what? Nobody. Today we cook for you. That's your gift. We're going to cook for you. And she always just looked at us and said, oh, no, please. No, please, don't. It takes me the whole next year to clean the kitchen after you do something like this. And we said, okay, bye. You stay here in bed. You're not allowed to come into the kitchen. That was the rule. I don't know how we get rules like this, but she wasn't allowed to come in the kitchen. To sit there listening to the pots and pans hitting the floor, giant gas explosions belching into the living room. And we're okay, we yell back. We're okay. And we'd make her breakfast. And, it wasn't very good. We wanted her to be happy, and so we made a pot of coffee, and which was terrible. We didn't know how to make coffee, so we knew we could kind of guess at it, but that's not how you make coffee, to guess at it. And it was black, and we put some cream in a little thing on the side, and it was like having coffee in Turkey, where it's thick and just and that's the coffee. And then I would make, I'd make pancakes, and not well. They weren't good. And more pots hitting the floor, and then there were no fires. Or once we had a fire, but I mean not like bad. Nobody got hurt, and we put it out with my dad's help. And he came running in his underwear. What are you doing? What are you doing? And we make Mom breakfast. Oh man! And so I'd make that then, and toast and eggs we'd make Mom scrambled eggs, and they weren't originally supposed to be scrambled. We were going to make them sunny side up, but they got scrambled. And then once they get a little scrambled, well, you might as well just in the pan, just keep stirring them with something and just really scrambling them up and kind of scraping them off the pan. And so that's not good. Nothing we made was good. But that's all right. She could smile at us and we'd bring them in on a tray, smoking. I don't mean us smoking cigarettes. I mean the food was smoking. And then we'd sit there and then she'd smile back at us. And she was very sweet about it. And I always took a bite or two, because just that, though, because it was horrible. And then we'd run out and play so she could get a good start on cleaning the kitchen for the next anniversary. But you know what, folks? What's better than that? I don't know how to get... I mean, supposing you did have $1 zillion and got her a brooch or a bracelet or something for, good Lord, yeah, 26 grand, 31 grand. Come on, who does that? What, you write a check for that or charge it? But you know what? So what? Forget that. They don't want to go to ball games and they don't want to get mad. Just make her something nice. Get her something nice. And I know also with Jeff's help here, I'll go to the section for the Colonel and Larry. And I'll let you know. And also, though, yeah, tomorrow I'll go to Wacko and see what they have and see what they can send or see what I can bring back home here. I know that, but you do too, because we know the same things. Homer is Homer and Pluto is a planet. So remember, folks, as always... If you walked out of bed today and had a job to go to and a home to come back to and someone there who loves you and needs a nice gift, folks, the game's over and you've won. Remember that till next time and every time. We'll see you then.